Hey guys, it's Neema and Iman over at the Neema Group at Marcus and Millichap. We want to tell you about a really cool deal we closed. 1900 Westwood Boulevard. That sits close to home, literally, in the heart of Little Tehran. Fantastic corner site. Halfway between UCLA and Google.
Yes.
The seller had submitted 60 units to the city for entitlements, and they felt that they do better selling the asset and doing an exchange. And they hired us. We're very grateful for that opportunity, and we want to tell you a little bit about the deal. You want to share briefly about kind of how we did our marketing and what was a little bit different about this transaction?
Yeah, so there was a couple of key points we identified when bringing this site for sale. We knew it's in the Westwood transportation specific plan, so even though it's in the TLC, we knew an entitlement here would be a little bit difficult. So a part of our marketing process was to try to identify a buyer that was familiar with all the moving parts on this deal and would be prepared to undergo a likely lengthy entitlement process.
But you always learn something on every transaction. After 22 years of doing it, I still get something from every deal. The buyer, we reached out to most of the active developers within a 3-mile, 2-mile radius of the site. And we generated, 3-4 offers at least? Maybe 5 offers from local players. But the buyer was an outlier, and he wasn't like a far outlier. He was really far from Switzerland. Fantastic group. They're going to do really well with the site. They stepped up and they saw the potential of the location. When Google opens, there's going to be hundreds of employees getting $250,000 salaries. We showed them, I think, 3 projects getting between $4 to $5 a square foot on rent within walking distance of this project. That really helped them with their underwriting. And they're long-term players. And they saw value over $800 a square foot on dirt for unentitled land on Westwood Boulevard.
It's a record for unentitled land. It's a record for entitled land on Westwood Boulevard.
And they're going to do great with it because the views from the site were incredible. It's a corner site. Your walkability is 345,000 out of 100. That was a joke. And I'll tell you that when we went under contract, is there anything else except the change in rates that we should talk about?
Yeah, the change in rates, but also we had marketed the site unpriced.
Yes.
Which I think is a great strategy, especially because of the changing rates on sites that require a lengthy entitlement with lesser monthly income from the existing tenants. Really, the market will dictate value. So what we found is that what Neema and I are best at is exposing these properties to the broadest audience to find the best buyer, and that's exactly what we executed in this transaction. We were able to garner a handful of offers, and because of the specific motivation our buyer had and their love of this location, we were able to get the best price and terms.
Yeah, they did visit the site in person. They spent 3 days in LA. We weren't the only deal they looked at, but the only deal that we closed on. And what's interesting is that they went under contract, they had financing arranged with a lender that I won't disclose, who pulled out 8 days before the close of escrow. Between the day we went under contract to 8 days before, rates have gone up, fear had flooded the market, a lot of negative sentiment in the marketplace about construction costs, where rents are going to land, and the lender, they pulled out in their own fancy little lender way, and 8 days before, they basically renegotiated the transaction with our seller, which didn't sit well, never does. And it took us about 3 weeks to put the deal back on track. Credit to the buyer, they did close all cash. They ditched their lender, they closed in an all cash position, and it just shows that good real estate will always demand a certain price. And even though this lender, and by the way, we tried getting 2 or 3 other lenders involved, but it's just too hard to start over in another 60-day cycle. He closed 5 days after we came into an agreement with the seller, 5 days all cash, and that's our success story. If you have any questions about 1900 Westwood, please let us know.